In the long ago time, when the great wonder was first creating humans, southern Alberta's winter was white and bitterly cold. As autumn came and the leaves fell to be tossed in the cruel wind, the people were frightened. They knew they would struggle to stay alive through the bitter winter. From October to May, they huddled by the fires in their teepees and counted the days. Sometimes, when the men went out to hunt the great buffalo, they were lost in the swirling white world, and their bodies were found in the prairie grasses when spring returned to the plains. It was the great south wind who blew the harsh weather down upon the people. One day they decided to beg the god to breathe more kindly upon them. They chose a brave and beautiful young couple and their wisest old man to visit him. For days they waited in breathless fear. When a search party went out after their missing tribesmen, they found the three by the river, frozen into statues of blue ice by the cold breath of the south wind. The people didn't know that the south wind had a little blind daughter. She loved to wander, but her father feared for her safety and kept her close by his side. One day he fell asleep, exhausted from blowing his cold breath out onto the prairie. And the little daughter wandered away and out of the mountains. Feeling her way, she came out onto the prairie, and everywhere she walked, the snow melted and the hard earth softened. She stopped on a gentle rise above an encampment of the people. The south wind slept in the mountains, and the day was calm and cold. The children were out playing in the snow. The little daughter had never known of other children. She turned her face to the sound of their laughter, and she smiled. All at once, it was as if a great warm breath had wafted over the prairie. The people turned their faces to the sweet wind and saw a small figure standing alone on the hillside. The children ran to surround her, chattering, and invited her to come and play with them. She smiled again and went with them, and everywhere she walked, the snow turned to glittering water, and the branches pushed out buds. She stayed for 2 days, and then her father awoke and came roaring out of the mountains. When he saw his daughter playing with the earth children, he shook his great arms in fury and blew a mighty breath, and the people ran in terror from the bitter cold. The south wind swept up his daughter in his chill embrace, and as he fled back to the mountains, the temperature dropped like an icy stone. A few days later, she came out again and smiled over the encampment. The people felt the warmth and crept from their tents, happy to see her again, but this time she only walked along the top of the hill, and as she passed out of sight, the weather cooled. A few weeks later, she heard the sound of their laughter and came happily down the hill again. This time she stayed a week, and the horses grazed the fresh prairie grasses that sprang up in her footsteps. Then, missing her cold father, she said goodbye and went back to the mountains. She promised to come again, and the people enjoyed yet another break from the icy cold. The little daughter had become their friend. Now when the cold breaks in winter and a warm breeze is felt, a breeze as gentle as the smile of a child, the people say, "Oh, the little blind daughter is wandering."